While most of us have watched a game show, it's a little bit different when it comes to actually playing it due to the crowd, being on the spot, and actually having the money on the line. It's a lot more difficult than it looks. You might think winning $1 million like this guy did is easy, but in truth, there's a lot more going on that meets the eye that you could learn from. So welcome back to Top 5 Central, everyone, where today we count down the top 5 smartest game show winners to see what all of us are doing wrong. Make sure to comment what your favorite game show is, and whichever one gets the most comments wins. But with that said, let's start with number 5. Everyone knows there's a bunch of different ways to beat a game show. I mean, you could just be super smart, or you could get really, really lucky, or you could do what this guy did. Robert isn't some genius, and he definitely didn't just wing it. In fact, he spent 13 whole years researching a lot of game show tactics and strategies. And stick around, because there's a lot to learn. Robert was so into Wheel of Fortune that when he was rejected at 19, he spent the next decade researching the easiest ways to win. He looked at which letters were most common in which rounds, spent whole nights memorizing previous answers, and even created his own spreadsheets to work out a strategy. Of course, none of that would mean anything if he didn't win, so it's a good job he absolutely crushed it this time. Robert guessed a bunch of answers with only 1 or 2 letters on the board, and walked away with over $70,000 and 2 different cruises.
3 wishes!
Yeah, that's it. Things, 10 seconds, good luck.
Goofy pictures!
You got it. Y and G. You want to know what's in there?
Yeah, preferably anything but 33, but let's see.
Would you settle for 45?
Yeah!
Robert, your ship just came in. $45,000.
Honestly, even he thought he was capable of leaving with more, but he said he didn't want to risk losing everything, which is a very valuable lesson about greed in these games. Number 4. Now, don't get me wrong, all the research that last guy did is pretty incredible, but even he's got nothing on this woman. I mean, as far as I know, she didn't make any crazy spreadsheets or work on memorizing answers for years. She was just super smart and super lucky. It starts out with a phrase for the prize puzzle being put up, and it was a really long phrase too. The first guy guessed a letter that wasn't in there at all, and then this woman guessed an L, which it turns out with 1 L being on the board. I bet you don't know the answer to this puzzle because it'd be impossible, except if your name's Caitlin. After looking at the 1 letter, she asked if she could solve the puzzle, and even though the host was obviously doubtful, he let her go for it anyway. Rules are technically rules, and that played in her favor when she completely winged it and guessed the answer straight away, which turned out to be, I have a good feeling about this. Her super secret strategy that allowed her to win is something every one of you should know. Her complete reasoning for guessing was that she had a good feeling about it too, so if you get picked for a game show, always go with your gut.
Can I solve?
Okay.
It is a prize puzzle.
Yeah,
I've got a good feeling about this.
that's right.
I had a good feeling about it.
Number 3. Doing well on any game show is impressive, but doing well on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is like a whole other level of skill. This guy was absolutely killing it before the video even started, because he was already up to $500,000 in prize money and was just 1 question away from taking home the full million. Just so you know, that's actually super rare, and only 1 other person had ever gotten that far on the show before. The player hadn't used any of his lifelines in the game yet, which means he knew the answer to every single question all by himself. Obviously, he's a genius, right? Well, it seemed like it until he got to the final question and asked to phone a friend. Basically, it looked like the question about presidents and game shows had stumped him, and he had rang up his dad for help. He gets him on the line, and what happens next will shock you.
Hello?
Hello, Tom.
Yes.
Hi, Regis Philbin here from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Hi.
We've got your son John with us right now. He's doing pretty well.
Good.
He's won $500,000.
Wow.
And he's going for $1 million. And he needs your help to get there.
Okay.
So, he's going to come on the line, read a question, 4 possible answers. One of them is the right answer. And the next voice you hear will be John's. John, you've got 30 seconds. Starts right now.
Hi, Dad.
Hi.
I don't really need your help. I just wanted to let you know that I'm gonna win the $1 million.
He, well, just grins and told his dad he won the $1 million, then hangs up the call, answered the question, and game complete.
Except, Debbie, you're going to Paris, so this is the final answer heard all around the world. He's won $1 million.
Number 2. Here's the thing about these kinds of shows. If you want to do well on them, it helps if you've at least seen them and know how they work. Taking that to the next level, if you've seen every episode of a game show known to man, then chances are you'll do pretty well if you make it on yourself. That's what happened with this dude. Like, apparently he waited over 31 years to be given a shot at The Price is Right, and when it was finally his turn to play, he did not disappoint. I mean, right from his opening bid, he got the price exactly, because he had seen the same prize on another episode and knew exactly how much it would normally cost.
You got it exactly right.
I've waited 31 years for this moment. It's an honor, sir.
Well, it's an honor to have you on the show, and thank you for your loyalty, and I'm delighted that you got that price exactly right.
It doesn't stop there though, because he was just as skilled when it came to playing buy and sell. Not only did he know which prizes were being marked up and which were being marked down, but he also knew the original prices for each of them, just by looking and seeing the brand name. In the end, he made a lot of money. It was super fun to watch, but I'm guessing he couldn't go on the show again without, completely bankrupting them.
Michael, there will be no one more disappointed than I if you don't make a lot of money on this. Fireplace, $26.50, sell, what's the price? $17.50 he made, $900, you've won $1,700, you've won all 3 prizes. Is that the biggest winner ever in this? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest cash winner ever in this game, and he deserves it. And we'll have our first showcase showdown after this message.
Before we get to our number 1 spot, here is our honorable mention. Lots and lots of people give dumb answers to questions when they're put on the spot, but that seems to happen more on Family Feud than on any other game show. I was actually really rooting for this guy, because he didn't give even one answer that was terrible, and trust me, out of all the game show competitions I've watched, that's really, really difficult. Not only did all of his answers work, but they were all super popular with the survey group. Like, every single answer fell between the high 20s and the mid 30s, and anyone who's ever seen the show will know how impressive that is. Just in case you don't though, here's a little background. Between this dude and another member of his family, the amount of points on the board need to go over 200 for them to win the money. By the time this guy had finished his round, he already had 175 points on the board. Oh, and the host said he was the most impressive contestant he had ever seen before, which you really can't argue with.
Phone survey said. Get your. I've been hosting this show for 2 years. I've never seen that happen before. That's the most points I've seen.
Number 1. I've said already that winning a game show is really impressive, but let's be real for a second. Most winners don't make history. Like, most of the time they take their money, go home, spend it, but they're really not remembered past the end of the episode. There is one exception I could think of, and that's Ken Jennings. Holding the record for the longest Jeopardy streak used to be 20 games, which is already insanely hard to beat, but by the time Ken finally lost, he had stacked up over 70. Yeah, you heard me right. This random computer programmer had managed to win 74 games in a row without even breaking a sweat, and became a celebrity in the process. The dude battled a computer, showed up on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, it even made a few meme-worthy mistakes in his time on the show, but most importantly, he made a whole lot of money. How much? Well, enough to support his career as a children's author, otherwise known as just over $2 million. Not bad, huh?
It doesn't really matter what I do for the next 50 years of my life, I peaked at 30, my tombstone's gonna say, that Jeopardy guy. That meant a lot to me, and it's still that amazing summer, that's a very special memory to me. And I couldn't be prouder to be associated with Jeopardy.
And there's our video on the top 5 smartest game show winners and their secrets revealed. Click the like button right now if you would say yes to the chance of being on a game show, and don't forget to comment your favorite out of every single one. Thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed, and keep it here on Top 5 Central.